Our friend never showed up at the ferry building, so we waited.
Other countries, which is great. So that showing people they want to stand here.
And so you actually use this metaphor of talking about
I think it's
chemotherapy.
Because chemotherapy, what is chemotherapy? Chemotherapy is taking a poison. And if you say, oh, let's research taking poison, let's be poison researchers, people say, oh, look at this terrible person. He's researching eating poison. He wants people to eat poison. Isn't he awful? But, if you have cancer, you might decide that eating a poison is the right thing to do because it's going to kill off the cancer cells more than the good cells. And I look at geoengineering much the same way, that it's something we don't want to do. But I don't share Clive's confidence that we're going to reduce emissions and we're going to avoid catastrophic climate outcomes, and that we might need some measures to address the worst climate outcomes if Clive's optimism proves unfounded.
Is geoengineering happening now with obvious chemtrails in the sky? Now, I'm not an expert on chemtrails.
Okay, I'm not an expert in contrails, but I find it hard to believe that, I'll wait till the audience quiets down. I find it hard to believe that every cloud scientist in the world, every aerosol scientist in the world is part of a vast conspiracy. Why are there no articles in quality peer-reviewed journals? I've talked to people who are experts on contrails, and they say that these are contrails. And also, if you wanted to, contrails have a slight warming influence. And if you were trying to affect the climate, you'd want to put in stratospheric aerosols, not put in contrails. But the last thing, it just doesn't pass the laugh test. Because if you think of Dick Cheney, do we really believe that Dick Cheney was so concerned about climate risk that he was willing to run a secret program, and that Clinton was willing to do this also? And the idea that that these guys care enough about the climate problem to run vast secret conspiracies just doesn't hold water.
We're talking about seeding the atmosphere with various substances, and we're not clear on what impact they could have on people's health.
Aluminum, for instance.
Is aluminum one of those?
Aluminum's not. I don't know anybody who's done any research.
David Keith in San Diego talked about it. Are you kidding me?
Okay, then talk to
CD
David. Okay, so anyway.
It turns out, first of all, there's been a lot of work on the environmental consequences of aluminum in the stratosphere because it's in shuttle exhaust. The little picture is from a nanofabrication study, which shows you can make very high quality, and do this in just a jet in a very simple way, make high quality alumina particles just by spraying aluminum vapor out, which oxidizes. So it's certainly in principle possible to do that. There's a big literature that's already looked at that. We've been doing a little work on delivery. There's a study that an aircraft engineering firm called Aurora Flight Sciences is doing, and all the results of that study will be completely public. There's nothing proprietary about this. We're going to be inviting people in for a mid-study meeting soon. And they've been looking at a bunch of different delivery options, but the bottom line is that it seems pretty cost-effective and easy to do this with aircraft that are not very different from conventional aircraft. So
for aluminum or other particles, there are a lot of toxicological things that need to get looked at seriously. But if you're just thinking about the sheer number of particles and the human health impact of small particles, the answer is, well, we haven't published it. That was the first thing we looked at with some of the leading experts who do epidemiological research on human health impacts.
It's masochistic is what it is. It is exposed to abuse. People think they compare you to Joseph Mengele, I think, for doing research in your office. It's like, and this guy accused me of being a liar, so it's like I don't even want to talk.
I'd like to apologize to people of Berkeley.
Oh yeah, okay. At least if they paid for tickets, it's okay.
Question. You saw Dr. Pachauri's statement that there's been no warming for 17 years. You saw that?
I don't know about that, no. But anyway, it has leveled off over the last decade or so.
Plateaued, and the satellite data says there's been no warming for 23 years.
Well, I don't know about that.
The RSS satellite?
Okay, well, I'm fully confident in the basic science of climate change.
But the models were saying back in 2000 there was going to be an end to snow. There's going to be no more snow, and we've had brutal winters for several years.
I have I'll make you a wager that this next decade will be warmer than the previous decade, and we can send an email and we can settle up in year 2023 if you'd like. Okay?
I'll put a beer on it.
Okay.
Have a beer?
So send me an email and we'll write down a date.
And one more thing.
I believe the basic physics.
Back when you're at Lawrence Livermore, you're on record as proposing putting pathogens into clouds to reign over enemy territory.
That's not true.
I have audio.
Show me it. Show me it.
I can play it to you. I got it on my iPhone.
Okay. I used to work at Lawrence Livermore National Lab, and I once participated in a meeting where we all sat around the room and thought about how could we manipulate geophysical systems to use it as a weapon. The meeting was about weaponizing geophysical interventions. That means, could you somehow interfere in Earth functioning in a way that you could use it as a military weapon? Could you change climate? What could you do in terms of manipulating the sort of Earth's physical systems as a weapon? Well, some of the ideas were okay. Maybe we could blow up hydrogen bombs, underwater, offshore, and make a tidal wave that would go over a city. And the result was, well, isn't it easier just to drop the hydrogen bombs on the city? Now you could imagine, though, say putting pathogens in a cloud. Let the cloud, go over somewhere, and then would rain down on your enemy and create, do chemical or germ warfare in this kind of way. Yeah, this is true. Yeah. So we were in a room, and somebody said, "Oh, if you wanted to sort of weaponize things, could you?" Right? And I was just, and the conclusion was basically no. But that's a different thing. I never advocated this.
Absolutely.
So
but don't you agree that that would cause pause for people who find you proposing seeding clouds? That in the past you talked about putting pathogens.
No, I didn't. First of all, I didn't. First of all, I think you're putting words in my mouth.
I just played your words back to you.
No. I said I was in a meeting where people brought up the issue of could you weaponize, geophysical systems, and the conclusion was no. And if you're going to, I could lie and say I wasn't in such a meeting. I could make up stories to you. This man accuses me of lying, so I don't talk to him anymore. And so if you want me, I'm just telling you the facts. I was in a room. People asked, could you weaponize geophysical systems? And the answer is no. Okay, and you're going to take a sentence out of context. Okay, or this man or somebody will take a sentence out of context right now and put it on the web and take out the part that says...
You don't find that could cause people concern?
I find it concern that people take little clips of what I say, one sentence out of context, and put it on the web instead of putting the whole context of, and so...
That you were discussing weather warfare.
Well, I was in a room where it was brought up and that concluded that there was no way to do it. And you're not going to put that on the web. You're going to put you'll put the part that says it was discussed, and you'll put out the part that says the idea was rejected. and I don't have a security clearance. I'm not in anything, there. I was in a room. Somebody brought it up. It was discussed briefly and rejected. And so because I'm open and talk about what I know, I have to suffer idiots taking little sound bites out of context and putting them on the web.
There you go. That was nice to say.
All right.
By the way, just a recommendation.
I don't want to talk to you because I don't want to talk to you.
Stop mentioning Dick Cheney all the time.
You talked about how he does. There are recordings of him saying it. He's a liar.
I played it to him.
You environmentalist idiots are falling for the biggest hoax that ever lived. Stop laughing at me.
No, we're not laughing at you.
By the way, I admire you for going into the lion's den.
No, because the thing is this: that you guys, you're true believers because there's no evidence. There's no evidence that would cause you to change your mind.
The gaps in the sprays.
Do we get your mic?
Spraying that chemtrail? Nope. Feels like we're above it. I know. Oh, this would be dead right now. I'm gonna put this on YouTube. You videoing right now? Oh God, don't video right now. It's like it's sprayed out of the top of his wings. Don't give him the evidence.
I put it on the feed. They've got their sound bites that they're going to clip out of context and put sentences on the web. And he's enjoying this. Okay.
I'll walk out this here.
Thank you for being very polite with which you...
Whether modification and corporation is a company. So you guys already are geoengineering.
What am I doing? You're telling me I'm an academic and I work in an office on a computer. I come and give talks. Right, I don't promote anything. I'm an academic researcher.
You guys had a fake debate.
You're selling it.
Good job, buddy.
He said everybody at Boeing, outside of Boeing, talks about it. It's real.
Absolutely.
By the spraying?
Oh yeah, he didn't want to believe the 9/11 stuff. I showed him everything. I said, make up your own mind. Now he's all over that, but he doesn't talk to anybody about it. He's like, my God, John, I can't believe this stuff. I'm scared. But he knows that he knows this is all real. He said they all talk about it.
Well, everybody's got to get together then and just. We have to figure out ways to get people together. Did you?
People are afraid, as you know.
Yeah, but we have to show people not to be afraid because if we all stand up together, we're way bigger than they are.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, and that's what they are scared of, that we are all going to figure it out, that we can stand up and be bigger than that.
Well, if there's one person scared in that room, it was Ken Caldera.
I'm not going to talk to you. I don't like you. You called me a liar.
How about he couldn't even turn his face into the audience at all? He just stared at.
So he must have watched that a few times.
Oh, he must have. He did a good job on that one too.
Oh my God.
But he makes such stupid statements as we don't use aluminum.